Hi, I'm Tom. I run ACDSleeve and I just wanted to make a quick video showing you the CD options that I'll be offering in 2026 after 8 years not making music packaging. I've brought back some old designs, I've reworked some old designs, I've got some new designs, and there's plenty going on in the background of doing interesting, unique and custom work. So I just wanted to put everything out there and show it off. First up is the simplest option for CD, which is a 2-panel CD slipcase. There's a front and back for artwork, there's no spine, the CD just slides inside. This is printed on brown 350 GSM board, and this was produced for Muttering earlier in the year. This is a production run that I made. Also, you could get it done on black board with black print, which gives you this nice spot UV effect. Again, another production run from earlier in the year. There's white uncoated board. There's pearlescent silver board. And you could have cut out artwork on this slipcase, but you just need to bear in mind that it will show through the CD. And there's pearlescent cream. And these are the 5 boards which are available as standard through ACDSleeve. And depending on run size and depending on what boards I have available, there's also scope to use a coloured board like this blue and pink. And I'm always on the lookout for interesting boards. So there's this leather effect board which I've tracked down, which looks really nice. So there's a lot of options there for a relatively simple release to make it look as nice as it can. Up next we have the Deluxe CD slipcase. This is the spiritual successor to the cut cover CD slipcase, which I made thousands of, and the fact that it has 2 separate parts to it. It has a 6mm spine now, and the outer can be fully printed. This is a production run for 31G for the Crimson Curse, with the outer printed in white and the inner printed in black, and the CD just slips out like that. There's plenty of different options for inner and outer cards, so you could have brown with a pearlescent cream inner, you could have a pearlescent cream outer with a brown inner. There's black on black, and you could have that with a white printed inner slipcase, or a white outer with a different coloured card inner. Gives you a lot of options, and yeah, it's quite a nice little design. Next is the 4-panel CD case. This is very similar to what I used to offer under the guise of the natural CD case, and it's just 4 panels with a 6mm spine, and the CD just slides in. From there, with the new setup, I'm able to do custom cutout sections of artwork. This one for Matt Thorpe earlier in the year. So again, 4 panels with the spine, CD just goes within, and you could have it printed black on black with an additional space for another insert or another CD. Printed on white on uncoated board. And now there's the scope to offer extras like this 2-panel printed insert. It's belly band, which I've only ever done 1 short run of because I had to cut them all entirely by hand, but this could be an option for your next release, as well as a full coverage sleeve that can be fully printed. It could have cut out artwork, just something to give your next release a little something extra. And then there's multiple extras. The belly bands don't need to be a set size, they can have cutout sections, they don't have to be in the same board that you're having produced. For your main packaging, you have a 3-panel insert, you could have a different coloured card, you could have silver card, as seen in other releases that I've shown. Yeah, just a lot of scope to make your release as nice as possible. Next up is a new design which uses the dimensions of the 4-panel CD case, and this is a 4-panel CD case with a corrugated CD tray. So like I said, it uses the same dimensions, so it's got a 6mm spine and 4 panels for artwork, but this is the CD held in place with a corrugated card CD tray, which I've designed and tested thoroughly to make sure it lasts. And you could get that black on black. You can get a second insert which could hold another CD or a booklet. You can have belly bands on this, and again have an insert in there, and then take your CD out. It securely stays in place. So that is a product I'm pretty pleased with, taking my knowledge of structural packaging design using fluted board and coming up with an interesting idea that you can't get anywhere else. Next is the 6-panel CD case. So this is just an adaptation of the 4-panel with an extra space for a third CD or an insert, or just more space for artwork. CD just slips in and can be printed on brown, can be printed on white. Seen in other designs, and depending on the run size, could be printed on a different coloured board. Could have cutout sections, could have inserts, could have belly bands. There's a lot of options. From the 6-panel, I wanted to see what the equipment could do, so I figured out a way to do an 8-panel CD case. So again, could hold 4 CDs, have inserts, have more space for artwork. Again, all the same print options are available. Sections with cutout elements. So that's the 8-panel, and then I wanted to see how far I could push it, how big the kit could go. So I came up with the 12-panel CD case. This is a bit of a beast. It can hold up to 6 CDs and have a lot of space for artwork, and have cutout elements, be made in all the same boards as previously mentioned. And I don't think it's going to be a big seller, but it's something a bit different, which I wanted to see what the limits were. And from there, we're on to the last couple of designs. The slide-in corrugated CD tray case. This has the outer dimensions of a standard jewel case with a much thicker spine. The CD is held in a self-makeup corrugated CD tray. You have extra space for artwork compared to the standard case, and it just gives you something a bit more unique. There's scope to have cutout elements, as in this blue one here, and also it can hold up to 8 CDs in the tray stacked on top of one another, which I'm not totally sure anybody would necessarily need, but it's an option if you want to put together a release of previous releases or whatever you might want to do. So that's the slide-in corrugated CD tray. And lastly, we have the DVD sleeve. I've had a few people ask about this over the years, and I never had an option. It was a bit too big, so this is basically a version of the slide-in corrugated CD tray, but which will hold a disc in the same dimensions as a standard DVD case. So again, cutout elements are possible, just slides in and out, and yeah, that's all the CD options from ACDSleeve. So that's all the options for now, and there's always ideas in the pipeline. The pop-up CD cases will hopefully be coming back at some point. I just want to avoid the use of plastics. And if you have an interesting project, give me a shout. and if you want to order, give me a shout. Check out ACDSleeve.com, and yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.